Hello, everyone. It's episode 66 of the Fitness Business Growth Podcast. I'm trying to set up a little home studio here to have people into my home to interview them on their fitness journey. Today, very special guest, the co-founder of Fitness Business Growth. Mitch, how are you?
Good. This is great.
It's just weird looking at you, not the camera. So if I look over here, look back, just give us a break. It's our first episode doing like this. So today's episode, I thought we'd just have a bit of a laugh. And it's all based around what we went through in 2012 in a small place called Kelowna in British Columbia. But mate, I want to take a step further back and I want to talk about October 4 when we left to go to San Diego, up the coast with 3 girls from Perth to Kelowna. So mate, take the floor away. Actually, let's back up even further. Like far out. I think probably, let's back up to Fitness First Chatswood.
That was the start of 2012.
Cool. So if anyone that doesn't know, I got my first fitness ever job was a sales manager at Fitness First Chatswood. About 3 months later, Mitch ended up getting a job at Fit and Fast Charlestown. You're a membership consultant, so at that point I was senior.
You're outranking me.
Outranking you. But throughout that entire year, I was very, very unhappy with what I was doing for work, working previously at Centrelink, the family business office. And then from there, we decided to go on one big party trip. Was it 3 months or indefinite?
We had Canadian working visa, which allowed us to be out there up for 2 years, but we were kind of laughing that we were never going to be there that long. We thought maybe like 6 months. I think that was initially what we thought.
I think we both had about $15,000. I think you had a little bit more money than me. Always better safer than me. And I think we had enough money to get us through the States on the ESTA 90-day visa before we had to cross the border into Canada and start our new working life.
Yeah. With no real idea of what was going to happen. And we didn't think we were going to work in a gym or in fitness.
No, not at all.
So we kind of didn't enjoy our life in fitness the 6 months prior to that.
No.
I actually remember saying, I'm never doing this shit again.
And for those listening, what was that shit as a membership consultant for a brick and mortar gym inside a shopping center at the time?
So that was my first job in the industry. So prior to that, I just loved working out and thought, this is going to be great. Get a job in the gym, work in the gym, chat to people in the gym.
People just want to sign up.
Yeah. And then I remember going in for my interview and they had a whiteboard and numbers and show up rates and everything. I thought, what the fuck's this?
The A1 drive.
Yeah. And it looked pretty hectic, to be honest. And I had the interview and got the job and they made it seem like it was very casual. Oh, yeah, like it's a great gym. You just, calling people who have inquired and, they'll come in and sign up. So, it's fine. Easy. And then all of a sudden there was booking to what was it then? Booking to
lead to booking?
Booking to call? Call to booking?
No, it would have been you had
we were meant to make 20 calls a day and were expected to make 4 appointments.
20 calls and 4 appointments?
Yeah. So that was booking to call.
Yeah, in outbound land now, that's like $400.
But they were qualified leads, mate.
Yeah.
They were referrals or people who walked in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so very quickly found out that I had a slow start with sales. Didn't really know what I was doing. And I started getting reamed out. Mitch, your percentages aren't very good. Your ratios are bad. I thought, what the hell's going on? I thought this was going to be easy.
So I'll set the stage. Mitch was working inside Fit and Fast with 2 other membership consultants. And they had a general manager and a sales manager. The sales manager would come in first thing in the morning for a big rev up doing an A1 drive, which was calling leads from the day before, A2 drive the day before that, A3 drive, you were really scraping the bottom of the barrel, put some rap music on, high energy, 45 minutes, hit the phones. Yeah. And Mitch thought people were just going to walk in and join up.
That's what they told me in the interview. And it wasn't the case. I remember being so naive. He was telling me, we won't name names obviously, but he was telling me about the numbers and the expected ratios. And he said, out of all your bookings, about 70% of them show up. I said, 70? But they all don't show up if you book them in? He said, oh, no, sometimes something will come up or they'll get caught in traffic or they've got a sick kid or something. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then just not having ever been in that environment before, I thought, of course people are going to show up if I book them in. Oh no. Yeah. Much lower than 70.
So Mitch was very unhappy in his role, safe to say. I was at Fitness First Chatswood, outranking Mitch at the time. I was managing a team of 3 membership consultants. One of them was our good friend Chris, which is just laughable thinking back about it. And if anyone doesn't know, Chatswood is about 15 minutes north of Sydney CBD, and it might be the highest cultural diversity spot in Sydney for Asians. And what I say that is we had 3 membership consultants, and they all spoke Mandarin and Cantonese. So they were selling like in those languages. And here I was trying to give them sales coaching, knowing nothing about sales in a different language.
I hope you're going to talk a little bit about the infamous membership consultant who had all the dodgy deals with all the locals.
So I got at Fitness First Chatswood, and they were the highest performing club. So I had pressure going in there. And they talked about this legendary MC who would sign up over 100 people per month. And what he was doing is he was signing people up on a month-to-month membership. They would cancel, and then he'd re-sign them up every single month. So it appeared like a new member every month, 12 months in a row, but it was the same person. I don't know how that billion-dollar company didn't pick up the net member movement.
The sales manager, mate, that was your job to come in and clean that up.
Yeah. So Mitch was miserable. I was miserable. And just like most young people, we're going to run overseas to party. We were very different people to who we are now. We used to love a good party, and we set sail on the Banana Bungalow in San Diego, and we spent 10 nights there. And probably some of the best nights of my life, maybe the greatest 10-night stretch of my life in San Diego, meeting our friends from Perth, having a laugh.
Yeah, we were in bender mode for that 10 days.
Yeah.
We bought an RV at the end of that, and we had grand plans to travel all around the country. And we got a few hours into our illustrious trip and conked out on us. Tire blew. Had to ditch it.
Yeah.
Change our plans.
So we bought an RV for $1,500. Literally, if you've seen Breaking Bad, think Jesse Walt in the van. We're driving to Arizona to the college because it was a huge party college. That's how bad that's how stupid we were. And then literally between San Diego and Arizona, also driving on the left-hand side of the road, right-hand side of the road with an RV out of San Diego. It wasn't easy. The tire blew. And then we spent a night in like a car yard next to the Mexican border. You wouldn't read about this. And then we thought, what are these guys going to charge us? They're going to charge us whatever they want. At the end of the day, they were pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
And then
Didn't
we
bankrupt us.
back to Arizona. Life's good again. And then the radiator blew. And then we're sitting on the side of the road, literally hitchhiking a ride back to San Diego. And I think it was a veteran who picked us up. Really nice guy, but went, like most Americans, deep into like conspiracy. Like he was one intense dude.
Chewing his tobacco. Remember that?
Yeah.
Really, really chewing it and spitting it.
And then we went back to the hostel, and it was all you can drink for $10. And we showed them.
We got our money's worth.
Yeah. From there, we caught a train to Portland, Oregon. And then from there, got a train, went to Seattle for a couple of nights, and then ended up in a little town called Kelowna that I've never heard of before.
Nope.
Lots of people go to Kelowna for one reason, which is to visit a mountain called Big White. Think Whistler, if you've heard of that, or Banff. Big White is just another variation of one of those mountains where every Australian ever goes there if they go to Canada.
Yeah, it was definitely like smaller, which I think we liked. We didn't really want to go to Whistler or Banff because that's where all the Aussies went. So it was a little bit smaller. And we didn't last very long up there. It was only about 6 or 7 weeks, and we hated it. We had some shitty housemates that we didn't get along with.
Too many parties.
That was probably our fault.
Yeah, and we were living in a room with 7 dudes, no bigger than this room you're watching right now, and it was rough. Like 7 dudes in a room. Every night, it's either someone's first night or their last night, so someone's always going out. There's always parties upstairs. There is no gym on the mountain. There is no protein powder. I came off that mountain the most out of shape of my life. I remember I committed to running through the following day back in Kelowna. Never got started.
I remember the first gym session back. Hit the chest.
Yeah.
Jumped on the bench, and it's never felt so unstable or uncomfortable in my whole life. So this is a slow road back.
So at this point, both our bank accounts are dwindling. We're both running out of money. We moved back to Kelowna, which is not too different to Newcastle, to be honest, or think coastal city town like Perth. It's a really beautiful place. And we started applying for jobs. And I wasn't picky at the time. I would have worked anywhere. We applied for door knocking jobs, like telco jobs, fast food jobs, maybe.
I think we drew the line there.
Fast
We weren't working in Macca's.
But an ad popped up, and it was for World Gym Australia, World Gym Kelowna. And I thought, I'm going to apply for that. I've got experience as a sales manager, as an MC. I applied for it. And at that time, I think you were working in another gym in town. Was that before or after me?
That was after.
It was after.
Just after.
And I met a guy. He will remain nameless, but he literally changed both our lives. Is that fair?
Yeah, oh yeah.
100%.
Oh, definitely.
And I sat down with him, and he said, Jayme, and at this point, the wage in Canada was $10.25 per hour. So I was happy with that. That was my expectation. He says, Jayme, you're either going to earn $100,000 or I'm going to fire you. And it was that light bulb moment, like, whoa, like that is even possible. And he was the most intense guy that I've ever met.
For basketball fans, think Kobe Bryant. Kind of looked like him, and definitely sounded like him.
He did have the Mamba mentality too.
He was a hectic, intense dude, to say
And
the least.
And this guy, so he didn't actually work for World Gym. He was a consultant before consulting was cool. And what was his business name? It was something fitness consulting.
Regional
Fitness consulting. And he worked in this World Gym, and his job was to increase their revenue through new memberships and through personal training. And what he was doing in 2012 was so ahead of the time, it's not funny. He would come into a town, he'd absolutely blow that gym out of the water, and then he'd bounce.
Yeah. I think like the States and Canada were always ahead of the curve compared to Australia. So what's happening there, we thought it was like so novel and unique because we had been in Fitness First and Fit and Fast 6 months earlier, and we weren't like, there was nothing like that going on. So we had this epiphany of like, what a fucking amazing system this is.
Yeah.
And we were a big part of it. Because what Jayme didn't mention was Jayme got me a job shortly after. So Jayme was a salesperson, I was a salesperson, and
So was our other friend.
Yeah. And we're under this head guy.
For our fitness friends, I want to go into the weeds of what they were actually doing, which I thought was so brilliant at the time. So I was hired as a personal training salesperson, and that role really didn't exist in Australia. Maybe it was a PT manager at Fitness First and some of the bigger clubs. But my job was every single new member that would get signed up would get booked in with me for a wellness consultation valued at $199. And my job was to do an hour session, basically like a needs analysis, taking them through their goals, their why. I would take them out on the floor and do a postural assessment, a few other things. And then I'd invite them back to do a session based off that postural assessment. And then my job was to sell these whopping personal training packs. I'm talking 100 sessions at $75 Canadian, so $7,500. And I was like 3 sessions a week for 30 weeks, 2 sessions a week for 10 weeks, 2 sessions a week and literally it was unbelievable. Because at that point,
mapping out the whole year for him.
Yeah, mapping out the whole year. And at that point, my only experience with PT was like, you want to do a session? It's like week to week. And that wasn't actually the best part. The best part was Andre's groundbreaking promotion. Do you want to run people through it?
Yeah, so Jayme's job was only possible because of the tremendous amount of new members that were coming through. And you guys probably know World Gym, like big box club, like thousands and thousands of members. So we had some pretty hefty sales targets. But his promotion, this was before Facebook, before any sort of digital marketing. So there was a lot of outreach going on. So there was actually other people that were walking around town giving out, what was it? A free pass, which also put them into the draw to win 12 months of membership.
I've never forgotten, mate. It was name, phone number, and email to win a 12-month membership at World Gym valued at $2,500. And my job and your job and the other reps' jobs at the time was to get 50 names and phone numbers a day. And then from there, the membership consultant would call those names, phone numbers, and emails and book appointments. They would sell them a membership, and they get sent up to me.
Going to pull you up there though, but because how we used to book the appointments was the call was, "Hi, Jayme Mitch calling from World Gym Kelowna. Just calling regarding a competition you recently entered. Do you remember?" And they say, "Oh, Yeah. So someone might have come up to you in park downtown or in one of the shopping centers. Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, you didn't win the major prize of 12-month free membership, but you did win one of our minor prizes, which is 1 month of free membership.
Yeah.
1 month of free training towards your membership.
Yeah, I've got the pitch. It was, congratulations, you've won one of our minor prizes, which is 2 months of free membership, as well as a wellness consultation valued at $499. How does that sound? Oh, and literally like, oh my God, I won. I never win anything. This is so exciting. And for people doing outbound calls, imagine calling someone, hey, is this Jayme from Breakthrough? And you get told to fuck off versus, it's Jayme from Breakthrough. You have won a prize.
Woo, yeah. And a lot of the time they'd be pumped and then be like, all right, well, the next step is just to organize an appointment for you to come down to the club so I can meet you and we can get you set up. Does tomorrow morning or afternoon work better? They'd come in, sit them down, you go through everything. And they were thinking it was just going to be sign up at the desk, 1 free month, off you go. Sit them down, go through goals, and go through all of that sales stuff. And then it would be like, great, well, the next step is to get you set up. Your first month is free, like I mentioned, 1 free month towards your membership. And then we have these other options for you to transition to either a
12 months or 24 months.
12 month or 24 month, go through pricing, alternate close, sign them up. First month is free, and then their 12 or 24 month membership would start from there.
So just to be clear, they won 2 months free.
Was it 2, was it?
2 months free, but their membership was actually 26 months long.
That's right.
So they were still paying for the 24 months. So this person thought they won 2 months free and a wellness consultation. We did sign them up for 26 months. They'd pay for 24. And then part of that great prize they won that they've never won before was a meeting with me, the final boss. And then my job was to sell them an enormous personal training package. So in hindsight, terrible business practice, but literally I couldn't believe how well it worked. 50 name, phone number, and emails. The pickup rates were high. The booking rates were high. The show rates for the prize were high. Everyone booked in with their wellness consultation. And that by that point, they spent 3 hours with the sales team. There's so much sunk cost that they'd buy the personal training.
I think there was actually part of that process where if somebody actually said, listen, I just want my free month or 2 months, I think it was 1 month. It was 2. But if they kicked up,
our mentor wouldn't have liked that.
If they kicked up a stink at the end, then we would just give it to them. But it didn't happen very much.
Do you remember? I think I did one, not one.
Like just because I remember there being like a meeting and saying, all right, just so we don't seem like we're being completely misleading, we can do that. But the process, regardless of what you think, like it actually worked. Like people would come in, they would get excited, they would be happy with their free month or free 2 months, and then into the membership. Before they knew it, they were booked in with Jayme. He'd be going through everything he went through with them. And then most people would end up with a personal trainer after that, and then a payment plan to pay off that personal training. So
that was the other thing.
That was the gray area of it all. So Jayme might sign, get them to commit to 50 sessions of personal training, 50 times 75, 3,750.
Right. They paid off over 24 months.
12. I think it was 12.
Yeah,
I think it was 24. So
they could do their sessions, for example, in 3 months, but then pay them off over 12.
Yeah. So let's say it was 48 sessions, right? 48 times 75, that's $3,600.
Good math.
So it'd be like, we'd offer a discount in full. So it'd be like, okay, so the grand, and I don't think you actually would say the grand total, but it'd be like, you can pay in full with a 10% discount, or we can just do it to be $300 a month for the next 12 months. Like, what's better for you? And they'd say, 12 months, So it's on, but then they wouldn't take 12 months to do those 50 sessions. They'd be doing, because Jayme would be recommending twice a week for the first 3 months, and once a week for the first 3 months, and once a fortnight for the next 3 months, and one a month for the last 3 months. So they'd actually done 40 of the 50 sessions after 6 months, but they were still paying that $300 a month for the final.
Yeah, and the real break was like, the real issue was they would finish their PT sessions and still have to pay off the remaining sessions. So if they wanted to renew with their PT, they'd have a large amount of money owing and renew. So just to summarize what was actually happening. So people out on the street handing out 7-day free trial cards.
This is the funnel.
7-day free trial cards with the possibility to win 12 months free. Every single person that entered the draw won second prize or a minor prize, which was 2 months free towards your membership, but we'd sign them up for a 26-month agreement and they'd pay for 24. They get booked in with me to sell PT, and then I get them on a personal training package. So that free 7-day pass, and it's hard to describe too, because this is 2012, no skepticism in the marketplace, no Facebook, no Instagram. It just worked so well.
I've actually seen these campaigns, like in some of the accounts that we work with now. I have a flick through their ads manager, and they run this before, just digitally. Like, leave your information to go on the rain to win a 12-month membership.
Yeah. And
And
so
then-
you're not a piece of shit, you better draw that 12-month membership.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. And then there was actually a gym in West Brisbane, a fighter's gym. You probably know what I'm referring to. And they did it and said it worked. Not bad. But
Yeah, cool.
it's back then it was just so novel. And like Jayme said, there was no skepticism in the market, where if someone came up to you now and said that,
give me a name, phone number, and email, a random on the street,
and then call them and say, hey, come in, like you've won minor prize, just wouldn't fly. So it's that was 12 years ago now. Like, it was a long time ago.
yeah.
So shit just changes, but at the time it was novel, and it was far better than what we had seen in Australia, which is what got us excited to.
Yeah. Well, in Australia, it was literally just, here's a 7-day free trial. And my advice from a really well-known fitness industry Australian legend, call them until they tell you to fuck off. Yeah. That was my advice. And we did.
And you did.
We did. And I got told to fuck off. But what I think was even more interesting was the actual wellness consultation itself. And it was an absolute masterpiece of sales. And this is before I knew what sales was. So we would sell this personal training package based on 4 core pillars. It was nervous system adaptation, it was strength, it was fitness, and the last one was something around do it for the rest of your life on your own. And the idea would be is that the first 12 weeks...
conditioning, hypertrophy, and strength.
That's right. It made so much sense because it was nervous system adaptation because of your bad posture. And we took a photo and showed them their posture back. Everyone's right shoulder's a little bit lower for anyone playing at home.
The plumb line.
Yeah.
Remember, so you showed how that
so it was nervous system adaptation, it was strength, it was hypertrophy, and then it was conditioning to lose the weight. And the way we sold it was brilliant. It was like, hey, twice a week for the first 12 weeks, once a week for the next 12 weeks, once a week, once every fortnight, and then once every month, so that you can train for the rest of your life. And if you actually map it out and they follow the program to a T, it made perfect sense.
Still to this day, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Really.
And the thing is, like, what I experienced, and I feel bad in hindsight, is the assessment was so good in regards to, we take a photo, we'd look at their posture, and our mentor said, like, hey, like, you aren't going to be able to train correctly because you need to work on these postural muscles. Otherwise, everything's going to be out of balance. And if you mess up nervous system adaptation, strength, hypertrophy, and conditioning won't work. And some people didn't buy, of course. And that was my issue with it, because they'd almost feel hopeless at the end of it.
Yeah, the problem was that a lot of people were expecting just a program. Yeah, so that's a fair thought. And then obviously not everyone bought. And if they didn't buy, the mentor would actually say, because he used to do this, the people used to hide from him when he came in the gym. So like, he'd be walking around and people would come in and think, oh, fuck, and then go and hide. So it's almost like they wouldn't even probably come in at all unless they had a trainer.
Yeah. So they spend 2 hours with me. Like, my goal was to make it known to them just how little they actually know, to the point where, like, they can see that they cannot do it on their own. And then they're in the gym doing it on their own, and I'm walking by with a big smile on my face. And it would have been hard.
If you remember too, I don't know the timeline on it, maybe 6 or 9 months later, we actually switched roles. You remember that?
I was membership consultant, you were selling PT.
I was doing that because I don't know why, but I And there was a time, and I was doing, I think, still doing a little bit of membership sales, but I would, if I signed up anyone, I actually gave them to you. So you would get the commission for it. And then we split the commission.
Yeah.
So we were working as a team even before we had
Yeah.
a partnership.
But it was
It was our first exposure to like this whole like massive, properly run operation. And both of us would just compare it to what we were doing
in Australia.
in the clubs in Australia.
And it was garbage.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were both 23, 24. So I guess morally, we didn't see anything wrong with it at all. In hindsight, short term good, long term for a business, probably not good. Because it would be the same thing at Fitness First in Sydney. When I was there, they changed their brand from blue to red because people were fucking sick of those blue shirts walking around Sydney, handing out 7-day free trial cards and then calling people till they die. And the same thing would have happened in that town where, like, if that process went on for years and years and years, people would avoid the outreach guys on the street. Because, like, imagine how quickly that would get around. I want a prize at World Gym. You want a prize? Me too.
I don't think I agree, but I don't think it's the worst. Like, I think a variation of that could have worked long term. Like, the funnel itself was quite good. I think there would have had to have been, obviously now with Facebook and stuff, like the digital part, but then I think there would have had to be a way that people could have got that price without a membership if they wanted. And then they probably should have got like a basic program with a wellness assessment if they didn't sign up.
Well, I guess it's no difference to a bait and switch, right? So we work with plenty of gyms and we obviously love 28 days, 6 weeks, but occasionally someone comes in like a 7-day free trial. Like, to that person, I would still encourage you, hey, 7 days is completely fine. You're more than welcome to jump on the reformer. However, we find in the first week, people are just like finding out how the reformer works. They're learning the terminology. I'd actually recommend you doing a 28-day introductory Pilates program. Does that make sense? And that's completely fine. Like, you can do the 7-day trial, but we do feel like you get a better experience doing 28 days. What works better for you? I guess the issue with that was there was no option.
No.
Or they'd have to kick up a stink and then the option would be presented.
Yeah. I think at the time though it was great, and for the gym itself, like, as long as those payment plans weren't too drawn out, like, they were actually getting a return on. They're getting a lot of personal training revenue. In Canada, like, they only were paying trainers $20 or $25 an hour. Because got to remember, like, minimum wage was 10.
Yeah.
So if a trainer gets fed a client for $25 an hour, they were happy.
Yeah.
So the remaining 75, we got our 10% commission, and then the other.
Do you remember what the worst package I ever sold was? It was three personal training sessions over a 12-month period. So I was like adding $3 a week to his membership, and he did the 3 sessions in the first week. It's not the worst thing looking back on it. Like, quick revenue for the gym, guy got better results. But when I remember my first sale like it was yesterday. So I sold 80 sessions at $75 a week. $6,000. And the guy signed on the dotted line and he paid his first fortnightly installment of 12 months. I was shocked. I thought, like, what just happened there? Like, I cannot believe that this person paid that much for personal training. And he was happy. And then over the next couple of months, as I was still working there, he was with his trainer, Jeff, twice a week, getting results.
I remember quite a few of my sales, but one was a paid in full. She bought 35 sessions in full, which was a bit of a discount. So it was like a $2,500 sale. And I remember the husband came in with it for the second. Remember, it was 2-part consultation. Right. So at the end of the first one, I said, "Great, the next one we'll talk a little bit more about specifics. We'll talk about different options around financing." And she said, "Oh, do you mind if I bring my husband along?" I said, "No, absolutely. No spousal objection." Then I was thinking, and he came along and went through everything, and they said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we walked up to the counter and processed 2,500. And then it was with Smitty, if you remember. But
so what's that? Is that 4,500 Australian in 2024? Like inflation?
I think Canadian's pretty similar.
Yeah, but just in terms of inflation, like what would that be today? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
It was a great process. Like, and I honestly think for anyone that was paying in full, like, it was a fantastic process.
Yeah.
There was no shortfall in cash flow. The trainer got them for 35 or however many sessions. The gym got the money. We got our commission because we got paid when money dropped too.
That's right.
So I got 200 $50, like right there, which was
Yeah.
at the time.
And considering premise
Fantastic.
earlier, you were at Fit and Fast and you said, I cannot believe people pay for personal training, to then an Australian guy. What would those people thought? The entire sales team was Australian.
Yeah, they would have thought something weird's going on here.
Something's really going
Must
on.
be an Australian owner. But what I want to talk about for a sec here is when we came back and we started working in some Anytime Fitnesses, not consulting.
Have we shared this story?
Probably not.
So, super interesting. So, I came back 6 months before Mitch. And then we had this grand plan to run Australian fitness consulting in 2014 and kind of duplicate what Andre was doing and take this to the Australian market because it had never been seen before here. And we actually worked with a few Anytimes, and one in particular, and absolutely destroyed. As in, like, their memberships were going up. We were selling PT packs left, right, and center. It was so unbelievably successful.
We had a sales team.
Sales team.
We got a new team. It worked really well. Like it had its. We were not nearly as experienced as we are now, but the concept and the process that we were doing there actually worked here. So we would get members with the help of the sales team that were using our offer, and then we were doing the consultations for personal training. And there weren't many that slipped through us.
Nah.
Like honestly, like there was, our close rate would have been like 80 to 90%.
Again, no skepticism. No one was naive. They were excited, and we went through the wellness assessment. It was nervous system adaptation. It was strength, hypertrophy conditioning, and just like, even if you know nothing about sales, it just made so much sense. Like, hey, you've just joined this gym for 12 months. Like you need, and they do need help. They actually do.
I remember one lady paid in full, and I walked up to the front desk obviously we're not going to say names here, but we walked up the front desk and processed. It was like $1,500 for maybe 20 sessions. That would have been 24. I don't know.
Yeah, well, 75. Just, I don't know why we chose that number.
Yeah,
But we did.
so it would have been 20-ish sessions. And I remember after she's like, oh, great, like got it booked in, all the pleasantries, and then she left. And the person at the desk, who Anytime employee, was like, how the fuck did you do that? It reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, fuck to do that.
And then it was almost like to the disbelief of these people who don't know, because they walk into this room, and we had like a private room. It was a really good setup, if you remember, like very, very like private and secluded. And then they'd walk up and they'd walk up to the front desk, swipe their card, and then they'd be, and great, we'll see you on Tuesday with Ryan.
My biggest PT sale ever, it was the manager of Bunnings.
Yeah.
The big dog at Bunnings in the local town. And he was such a nice guy, and he needed help, and he had a big goal. I think he bought like 100 sessions up front. Like, it was something ridiculous.
It was a couple of grand, I remember. Abdul, his name was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3 times a week for the entire year. And like, again, he swiped his card, he paid, and the GM at the front desk just had a huge issue with it. Like, she almost didn't agree that he should have paid that amount. And like, it's just so ridiculous because he wanted it.
Shows what a good process does, because that manager there struggles to sell memberships. Like, she sits down with people, or he or whoever, and struggles to get $15 a week out of people. And then here we come on in,
well,
couple of grand, see you later.
We can say first names because it doesn't matter. So we got one of our biggest lessons in business from consulting at Anytime, very briefly, and it's the Marguerite syndrome. And it is something that I see with almost every single gym owner I work with. Now, what the Marguerite syndrome is.
And before we're not picking on you guys, because actually our team.
Yeah, our team do it. We do it still.
Yeah.
We do it still. The Marguerite syndrome is deadly. And there's always that one loud person in the gym that says, oh, there's rubbish on the floor, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. And then your trainer, your GM, will say, everyone hates this. Everyone's worried about that. And then you go and change the whole business just to appease that one person. So the Marguerite syndrome is it's rife.
Hers was about the rubbish. She walked in.
Yeah, so I'll jump in there. You just came through, you swiped the $2,500 payment. The owner of the gym is like yahooing. She's like, oh, well, like, all these PTs are so busy. Like, there's rubbish on the floor.
No, she said, everyone's complaining about how dirty the gym is. She said, everyone? Said, Well, what do you mean, everyone? I said, who's been saying it? Oh, well, Johnny came up and said that there was like a bin over there that was overflowed. Okay. Who else? Oh, it's really just Johnny. But there is like, look, there's stuff everywhere. I said, so was it just Johnny or has anyone else said anything?
Yeah.
No, it's just Johnny. But look, I said, okay, well, we'll go and and I think we might have actually
Pick
even
up the
done.
rubbish.
We'll go and replace that bin and then we'll move on with making sales and helping the owner make some more money.
Yeah. Shared this story many times. I'll share it again. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. It's the Natasha syndrome. Curry, 2016. Gym was
Glory days.
Gym was packed. 6 a.m. 40 people.
Upstairs, downstairs.
40 people coming at 6:45. 80 car parks in the morning. People trying to leave Curry to get to work. The main street's clogged up.
We only had 8 car spots out the front.
Yeah. And Natasha said, "You guys have got to get a suggestion box. You guys have got to get a suggestion box. You have to get one." And young, naive, stupid, victim of the Marguerite syndrome, we went and got a box.
She was a pretty strong personality.
She was a strong person. She was another small business owner.
And her daughter came and we thought,
yeah,
better do the right thing by her.
Got the suggestion box, went and checked it the next day. 20, 24 suggestions, all in the same handwriting, all from Natasha, right?
But she didn't leave a name.
She didn't leave a name.
She was making it out as though it was randomized.
Yeah. And then one of the suggestions was, can you guys get a boxing bag? And because of the Marguerite syndrome, listening to that one loud voice in the room, we thought, well, like, we got to get a boxing bag because everyone wants a boxing bag. And we almost like, we're going to put like a new beam in the roof to hang a boxing bag. And then Natasha, she cancelled about a month later. So if you have those people in your gym that are really loud that make demands, they are going to cancel.
Did we get the boxing bag?
We didn't.
Good.
Thank the Lord. But yeah, terrible. And then from there, where do we go from there? So we were consulting for a few times in Newcastle, and then we kept running into more Marguerites where we'd come into the gym like a wildfire. We'd change the outreach, we'd change the marketing, we'd change the sales, we'd change the PT system, and all the GMs absolutely despised us.
And our system wasn't perfect. Like,
no, it wasn't perfect.
Let's just get that out in the open.
It was good to make the owner money, but it caused every single staff member more issues.
A shitload of operational complexity.
Yeah.
And this was before Google. There's probably Google Sheets and stuff probably existed.
No, email and Excel sheets twice a day.
We weren't using them. So there was a lot of shortcomings, but we maintain to this day, like, we made the gym owners a lot of money. We got personal trainers to be busier. We added a lot of members to the gym. We re-signed members and got them on to like, if they were month to month,
other thing too.
got them onto contracts.
So our first ever mentor, he would love just renewing people all the time. So they're a year into a membership, renew for 2 years for 1 month free. And like, he just knew what the owners didn't know, that they're all going to cancel. The owners give up the month for an extra 24 months of revenue. And at the time, I thought it was good too. I can see flaws in it now.
And that was Marguerite herself actually brought that up at one point, because she said, you guys are doing all these renewals. We said, well, they're out of contract. Like, they could leave tomorrow. This locks them in for another 12 months or 18 months or whatever. She said, oh, yeah, but Adam, you re-signed him yesterday. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, what about the other 30 people? Like, one out of 31 probably isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But we know that some of those other 30, and obviously maybe they don't stick him to the contract, who knows, but...
So that PT system, and we've never ever advertised towards PTs, maybe we should. That PT system would still work today. Every single person that joins your 24-hour big box gym, they get a free wellness consultation valued at $199. They sit with you for an hour, a really deep analysis on what they actually need, their goals, their why, impact if they do, impact if they don't. Take them out for a half-hour session, and the second part of that second session with them is effectively your sales pitch. And at that point, you've poured 90 minutes into this person. You show that you're the expert. There's some rapport there. It's not hard to sell a 12-pack. It's just not. And like, the more I get into this industry, the more I realize that being a PT at a big box club, you can make a lot of money with a lot less stress.
Especially if you have like a really good arrangement with however many other trainers there are, or because where we were, like, it was good for us. We had no other trainers that were fighting for leads. Every new member that came through, we got. And we have some trainers who have the same sort of setup.
Yeah.
So if you do, like it's actually you're never going to be short on leads.
No.
Because think about how hard it is, and for us to generate leads, and we have a whole process around marketing and paid advertising and everything there. But if you've got leads that are joining the gym, they're already qualified, they're already signed up, they're already wanting to make a change.
And what about the lifetime value of a PT client? Like, let's just say that you have to spend 2 hours with someone before you pitch them a 12-month personal training package. Say your time's at $150 an hour, and say you sign 2 out of 3 people. That means you're paying $225 to acquire a one-on-one PT client for a 12-month time period. And as we know, like, the retention on PT is astronomical. And if you're a PT and you're spending $225 of your time to acquire your client, it can be a lot better sometimes than when some of the gyms that we work with previous to coming to us.
Yeah, it just having a rock solid sales process. And they're the trainers that do well. It's the ones that have a process like that where they will meet and greet new people and have the variation of what we were doing. Personal training's fucking easy to sell. Like, it really is, because you are actually talking about like specifically what they want. And the difference to group training is, with group training, you're kind of saying, yeah, we can help you with this. But if this person's wanting something specific, you can actually, as you know, like the whole idea with personal training is you personalize it for them. And they're actually going
at the time that they want.
Yeah. And they're actually going to get better results. You're going to follow up with them more because the trainer's probably only got 10, 20, 30 clients. Like, it's still to this day, like it's stood the test of time. Like, it's been around for decades, and it will be around for decades more. Like, there is certainly a demand for it. And I think if someone has a good lead flow coming in through new members, and they've got a good sales process, then they're gonna kill.
So why do you think PT was frowned? Why do you think PT's become frowned upon? Is it the entrepreneurs or the online gurus saying you shouldn't trade time for money?
Well, just the rise of group training. And it's like easy to say, oh, well, you can train one person for 100 an hour, or you can train 10 people who are all paying $15 a session on average or whatever, and that's 150. But the difference remains that how long are those group training people going to stay? And it's still like there's pros and cons for both. But I think in the right environment, with the right setup, with the right sales process, you can live a very, very good life as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Like you can do 20 sessions a week, get your $2,000, move on.
And you can put your gym rent on pause if you're away for a week. Can't put your commercial lease on pause.
Yeah.
No DA. Like, and I'm pretty sure, like, I could be wrong here, the majority of any times was to get 100 members a month. They really would.
Like
100 members a month. Those 100 members, you get 50 consultations, 40 of them show. If you're the world's worst salesperson, you wouldn't even need to do that because you couldn't actually work with 20 new people. Like you would be full within like 3 months. Like, no doubt about it.
And even if it's not 100, even if it's 30, right? Like you play the percentages on that. You can get a few new clients a month.
Yeah.
And the retention is so good.
Just amazing. Like, because like the majority of PTs that we speak to, they just literally take them through a half-hour workout, put them on the Stairmaster for 5 minutes. All right, if you need some help, let me know. But like, if you just took them into your assessment room for the next half an hour and had a conversation with them, like they want to buy. Like, and think about the perceived likelihood of achievement. Like, working with a personal trainer one-on-one, customizing your training nutrition, the person would feel like, I am going to get results. As opposed to group, when like, oh, like they're there anyway, like I don't have to go.
What's your view on semi-private?
Hate it.
Why?
It's very hard to educate the consumer the difference between large group and semi-private.
But even if you called it personal training, which you could, if it's like...
Well, we've had this discussion many times, and it would be like, if someone is doing four people, one trainer, semi-private 3 times a week, it's $150. If the person misses one of those semi-private sessions, do you still charge them?
Yeah. And
is it perceived the same way as a one-on-one session? So I'm just not a massive fan of semi-private. I think it would add tons of complexity to an already complex business if you are like an owner-operator wearing all the hats.
Yeah, you'd need like a part-time admin person to handle all that. And even then, because with a personal trainer, if you're there at 6 a.m. and they snooze the alarm, or they can't be fucked, and they message you at 5:55, hey, sorry, I can't make it, you have the right to bill them.
100%.
obviously.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
But as in the semi-private, if you got 6 a.m., you got 4 people, and then one of them doesn't show up,
You're already there.
do you bill them? I mean, obviously you can have your terms and conditions and an agreement, but
Would that sour the relationship?
yeah. And what if one person needs to change? It's. I think the theory of it's great, and then for the practicality of it, I think it would be a fucking nightmare. And I would, if anyone is still listening at this point and is a semi-private trainer, and it's working. Like, I'd actually love to hear it, because I just feel
Yeah,
like that would
100%.
be like a continued roadblock, because the
Well,
concept's good. Like, it's less
yeah.
than personal training. You still get like the attention, but then when
Yeah,
it
well, we
comes
have
to
gym owners that come to us that have semi-private, and they ask us to market it, and they've got one spot available at 4:15 on Wednesday. It's hard to acquire clients as it is, let alone pigeonhole them into a 4:15 session. We've had gym owners ask us like, "Hey, can you just advertise that session?" We can if you want to pay $500 for a lead,
Hmm.
right? I think that gym owners overvalue the importance of their business and their service, and they think people are going to mold their lives around their business. When at the end of the day, like, people just undervalue convenience. They undervalue driving past your gym on the way home. They undervalue being able to bring their kids. They undervalue just being able to drop in whenever they want. And we've worked with a few gyms, and their timetable has been horrendous. And like, it's been a very, very difficult uphill battle for us.
Needs to be like one or the other, I think. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to go lean, and we've had business models like this before, where we've just run 3 sessions in the morning, and then you look at your expenses, and we were just renting space at that time. Like, good business model,
Yeah. Good.
honestly.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, good. Or if you've just got afternoons, or
So I'll jump in there. If you have 5 mornings a week, say 5:15, 6 a.m., 6:45, and advertise a morning boot camp only, you're going to make some money. But I'm talking if you have the random times: Monday 6 a.m., Tuesday 9:30, Wednesday 5:45. They have to be able to attend at least 3 times a week, or again, their perceived likelihood, they have to believe that, okay, there's enough times on that timetable for me to come 3 times a week. And if there's not, tough.
yeah. I think it all comes down to your expenses as well. And like, if it's a lifestyle thing, and you're not wanting to work every morning, every mid morning, every arvo, and you want to have a couple mornings, couple of arvos, and you're okay with 50 members, like managing it all, I'm sure you can probably make that happen. But if you're wanting to have a team, and you're wanting to get off the tools, and you're wanting to have that, I agree. And the whole world's going that way, like on demand.
Yeah.
Fucking Netflix. Like, wasn't that long ago that you had to
Yeah.
go and hire movies, or watch a movie on Channel 9. Like,
Yeah.
we are so used to getting shit that we want, like, straight away. And then it's like, comparing it for a training perspective, it's like, well, if you don't have much availability, it's probably only a
Yeah.
matter of time before they.
I think sometimes, because I do the sales for fitness business consulting in regards to gyms joining either our done for you or done with you service. And a gym owner will come to me and they're really struggling, and I'll break down their entire business. And like, I just don't know why it's working. And there is something that is so fucking glaring of why it isn't working. And it's that they only run 3 sessions a week. And like, I'm not sure if like it's if if they're blinded by it, or that they genuinely feel that their sessions or their community or their environment is so much better than other people. But if you've got 3 sessions on the timetable and F45 has 40, no one knows who you are, and Mark Wahlberg was just in Bondi,
Was he?
are you surprised that you're struggling? And that might sound really harsh, and that might upset some gym owners, but like, sometimes the reason why your business isn't working is so fucking obvious that you can't even see it.
Yeah. And that's not to say like you have to be a big franchise to
No,
succeed, but
you have to have a minimum viable product.
I think it's because a big part of it is these owners and people, like us included, anyone, you've got your network. And in those small networks and those small communities, if you've got 40, 50, 60 members, they all fucking love it. Right. And they're all say, this is great. I would never go anywhere else.
Every
love
gym,
you.
every gym has a great community. They're talking about the 30 people that attend 5 times a week.
And then they wonder why other people can't see the same thing. And you're right, every single gym, unless it's fucking terrible, has a community of people. Some of them might be 10. Like, I know your partner goes to a gym and they've got a great community. unfortunately, there's
Not many members.
not many members, but they've got a great community. And there's every gym, they've got it. It's just different numbers of people. And they come to you or come to us. Obviously, if they're getting to the point where they want to speak to us because they want help, they're not happy with how things are going. Otherwise, they wouldn't be
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
call. And they, like you said, they can't really fathom like why it's not working. And it's like, well, you know, my 40 members love it. Yeah, but they've been there forever. They would be happy anywhere, probably. And then it's like, well, maybe your timetable's got something to do with it. Maybe because when people walk into their first session, you're doing overhead squats. Like maybe it is your timetable sucks. Maybe your gym looks like shit. Like maybe you got no parking. Like,
Or the name of your gym's Hell Strength. How many people are going to resonate with the name Hell Strength? I just don't know why I can't acquire clients, because your gym's called fucking Hell Strength.
and their last post on social media is of like a guy without his shirt on, like looking like he's about to pass out at the end of a tough workout.
Yeah.
So I think there's the other thing with that too is a lot of those gyms with not many members, they want more of the members that they've got. They want the people who are fit, they're conditioned, they move well, they've done training before, they're wanting to excel with their strength and conditioning.
You're starting to sound like a franchise founder, mate.
That's what they want. They want more of them.
I don't give a fuck.
No, I'm just saying, but like, good fucking luck finding people who like are really looking to take the next step of their training. They're already somewhere else and they're already happy.
Yeah.
Like,
They're already a part of a thriving community with other young, fit, in shape people.
so there's never been more gyms. Like yes, there's some major franchises that are shutting them down, like it's going out of fashion. But there's never been more gyms. So like, why would somebody who is already fit, strong, capable, enjoying their training, and they want to see some additional results, maybe there's a few of them out there, why will they choose you and not the other 9 strength and conditioning programs?
Yeah. And then they say their community, and you're like, well, we've raised $66,000 for local families in Newcastle. I say that every chance I get. That's a sign of our community. So if you have a good community, what is the measurement? Where is that on the marketing funnel tracker? Is that high average attendance? Is that attendance to events? Is that retention? Like what is it?
And our members say it too.
Yeah.
We're not beyond this.
The best community ever.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Like, it is, but I think all of them are good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually like, I'm saying like, when I'm sure like there are people who love it, love your gym, love your program. Like I think once people get in there, for the most time, it is quite good. It's just getting people to that point. Get rid of your fucking overhead squats on day one.
Yeah.
Like, be open to train people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. One of my favorite ever interviews of Alex Hermosi. It's a really, really, really old one. And he went to a gym owner and they were at capacity, but they weren't profitable. And he said, like, how is that possible? Like, how can you be at capacity? You can't fit any more members in, but you're still not profitable. And he's like, he gets pretty angry. He's like, let me look at your program. And they were doing walking barbell lunges and they were doing double unders. And he's like, so if you remove them from the program, you could effectively double your capacity. He's like, yeah, but we can't do that. We're a CrossFit gym. Grab the skipping rope. This is what's fucking killing your business.
Yeah, I remember that. It's what's strangling your business.
And people are so proud of that CrossFit and that brand and their style of training. Like, it can literally kill your business. How much room does 12 people doing walking barbell lunges take up compared to someone doing a sit-up on the ground? Like, it actually can be that simple. Or it could be a timetable. Or it could be that your gym's called fucking Hell Strength.
People are more they're more worried about what their program is, how their brand looks, like what their logo is, what the coloring is, how their images look, than actually making money, making a living. And we're not talking about being millionaires here, like making a living for your family. Because there's no two ways about it. Like 90% of people who we speak with are needing and wanting to make more money for their family. So it's like what, you can't just exclude double unders so your daughter can enjoy some of the nicer things in life? Like, is that really, like, are you more attached to double unders than providing like a bit more comfort?
They're in those CrossFit Facebook groups, mate. It's a funny thing, right? Like, it's just something that I see all the time. Some owners respectfully, you're too fucking cool. You're too cool for school. Like, you care more about your 5 CrossFit buddies than genuinely helping people that live in your local community, because you lead those double unders, you lead the walking barbell lunges, you leave the wall sliders or handstand push-ups. Oh, man.
And it's not just CrossFit gyms. I like CrossFit. I think it's like a great program that is great coaching and everything.
But imagine, like, you're trying to grow the gym, you're trying to get 3 or 4 clients a week, and on Monday, you fucking program handstands. Really think about that person. They're already scared to do 10 star jumps, let alone a fucking handstand. And again, like, are you that prideful in your style of workout that you can't be flexible in the slightest? Fuck, move handstands to Fridays. At least I get 4 sessions in there first.
And it's not to say handstands aren't a good way to build your strength and coordination and your balance, but it's not what people think to start. And there is a middle ground to it all. There really is. I think a lot of people are very stubborn with what they believe is the best way to get fit, and it's kind of like, then you start competing with, like, no, like, kettlebells are better, like, no, like, CrossFit's better, no, like, you need to be doing gymnastics, or you need to be doing HIIT training. Like, they're just all vehicles to help people feel better, feel fitter and stronger. So, like you said, people have a lot of pride and they live and breathe it. Like, I understand, like, they're sowing the weeds of their own training and helping other people and feel like they've got the answer for it. And I think you can be so in the depths of it yourself that you can kind of overlook the glaring shortcomings of it all, where it is that most people that aren't training at the gym, that are potentially your new clients, don't really need that shit at the start. They don't care about that. They want to come in, they want to lift some weights, they want to sweat a bit, they want to feel good, and they want to leave.
And circling back to the entire point of this episode, our first mentor in Canada, he said one of the most impactful things I've ever heard to me. And he's like, Jayme, when your mum walks into the gym, what does she see? And I'm like, life fitness, hammer strength. And I was really proud because I could name all the equipment in there. He's like, Jayme, your mum doesn't see a single thing. She is just absolutely terrified that people are looking at her. I said, let's get one thing straight. Your mum needs none of this equipment to get in shape. And I think that was such a great lesson for us, because then we started in parks, community halls, and we had no equipment, and we had these thriving businesses, these huge direct debits, and the communities that helped us raise those tens of thousands of dollars for charity.
Yeah, I completely concur.
Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed this first episode of this in-person podcast. Like the first episode of the recorded one, I'm sure we are going to make some improvements over time. We can try and get some guests into my house. Record in Newcastle, looking at getting a bit of a podcast stand here.
You've gone all out, mate. You've spent hundreds of dollars on this.
Yeah, I know. And the next one would be, actually, we will get like a stand there and maybe some microphones or some XLR inputs
glass of water
into a Rodecaster Pro, but that's just too much for now.
Don't think we need that. Maybe just yet.
Guys, as always, like, subscribe, share. We hope you enjoyed this. And if we ever get a little bit ranty, know it's from the best possible place. We want you guys to make money.
If you're still listening at this point, then you must like us somewhat. So
yeah. All right.
Enjoy. Thank you
Thanks,
for listening.
Guys.
Bye.